Hey guys, welcome to today's video. In this video, I'm going to be going through my entire process of how I deal with Amazon returns, or Amazon customer returns, I should say. So if that's something that interests you, stay tuned and find out more. So if you've sold on Amazon at all, whether if you're a new seller, you won't know about this, but if you've sold any items on Amazon before, you'll know how much a pain in the ass dealing with returns is. But it's one of those things we have to deal with as an Amazon seller. You just have to basically come up with the best process possible to deal with them. And you can see I'm not definitely the best at this. If you look behind me, you can probably see on all these shelves over here, a bunch of returns I still need to process. But, it's part and parcel of the game. So the first thing we need to talk about is we don't want the item back. So the very first thing we want to do is make sure we've got all of our settings set up correctly in Amazon to allow Amazon to grade and resell your items. Now this is actually a setting that a lot of people don't know about, surprisingly. There was a YouTuber, a fellow YouTuber who does Amazon FBA, who's been doing FBA for 3 or 4 years now, and he didn't know about this. So anyway, let me just switch over my screen just so I can show you guys, and we'll go from here. Let me just choose the correct scene. Talking head, here we go. Cool. Right then. So the first thing we want to do is do this automated unfulfillable settings, and you can access this by going to your inventory, then clicking on remove unfillable inventory. And then on the top right hand side, you will see the auto removal settings. And this is, by the way, using a computer, not a phone. I don't know where the setting is on a phone. I do everything through my computer. And what you want to do is make sure you set up to click enable for the automated unfulfillable settings. Now, the reason is we don't want to touch an item more than once. Every time you touch an item and have to process it, essentially costs you more money in terms of labor and time, and that basically comes to money. So you don't want to touch an item more than once if possible. And first you want to basically do this click refurbishment, and that'll basically, as it says here, allow Amazon to retape, reglue, restaple, blah blah blah, any items that look brand new, and that's all good. And if you want, you can go in and you can choose which categories you want them to do this on or not. Now, the second one is the grade and resell. And what this does basically is if an item comes back and a customer hasn't said that the item is faulty, then Amazon will grade and resell the item, providing it's not damaged, it's not faulty. If it's just opened and been used, they will grade and resell it. And you need to basically tick this and set up your settings for what kind of price you want. Now, these are the prices that I use, but, this isn't perfect, and you might want to tweak this, and I probably should tweak this myself. But what I have going right now is I've got the like new as 90% of the, I think it's the buy box. That's a good question, actually. 90% of the, so I'm trying to stop saying so much, doing my head in. Right, so I've got mine as 90% of like new, 85% of as very good, 80% if the item is good, or 75% if it's acceptable. And you can change these as much as you want. And then finally down here, you can also enable liquidations. I don't actually have this enabled because I only want to liquidate ad hoc, every now and then. But if you don't want to ever get anything back, you can basically enable liquidations, and then either one of these things is going to happen. These three things are going to happen. Amazon are going to refurbish it, or furbishment, I should say. They're going to grade and resell it, or finally they're going to liquidate it. And then you shouldn't get anything back whatsoever. Right, so further down we have the return or dispose, and I have mine as return basically. So twice a month from the 5th and the 20th, Amazon will go through all my unfulfillable inventory and they'll return it to me, but you can choose to dispose of it. So yeah, that's one of the first things you want to do. Cool. The second one, so that's step one. And I'll hopefully be overlaying some stuff on the screen here. Step 2 is creating a removal order. And what you want to do basically here is, this is generally items that Amazon have determined are in such a poor condition they can't be resold, or that the customer has said the item is faulty. And one of the biggest pain in the arses with Amazon returns is customers believe they're going to get like free delivery. I don't know why I bunnied there. If they say an item is faulty, even though it's not. And if they mark it as faulty, then basically Amazon won't even bother trying to grade it. They'll just send it back to you, even though it might even still be brand new sealed. And I've had that. I've had people say things is faulty and it's brand new sealed. So that will come back to you, and that's what it tends to be. And you can choose to do one of 3 things. And the way you access this, by the way, this page here, is by going to your inventory, and then it's the remove unfillable inventory. And from here, you'll have a list of all your items that are unfulfillable, and you can choose either to liquidate it, which basically means it gets sold pennies on the dollar to a liquidation company. I believe you can only liquidate if you are VAT registered, by the way. So if you don't have that option available, I think you need to sign up for it. And if you do want to sign up, I think you need to be VAT registered. The next one is return to address, which is what I do with 99% of my items. Or the third one is dispose, and you'll have to pay a fee. I can't remember what the fee is off the top of my head, but Amazon will basically destroy your item or donate it. So that's the next thing you need to deal with, is deciding what you want to do with your inventory that's unfulfillable. Cool. Right, now if we switch back to the full screen camera, we've done everything possible to try and not to get an item back, but obviously it's inevitable for a lot of the items. So step 3 is, once an item arrives back, you want to check if you can get any kind of reimbursement from Amazon. Now, you can't get a reimbursement for customer damage. So if a customer's damaged the box or damaged the item, it's basically tough luck. And you know, that's the end of that, basically. But if anything is missing from the packaging, if accessories are missing, or the box is missing, or anything is missing out of there, you can make a request with Amazon and they should reimburse you. How much they reimburse you changes for basically depends who you're dealing with. I don't normally get reimbursed the full amount. So my most recent one, for example, a battery was missing from a camera. The camera was worth about £100. I got a £20 reimbursement. Now I'm actually fighting that with Amazon, because this item is now useless without that battery, and £20 back to me is nothing. Not going to help. So the first thing you want to do is make sure there's anything missing, and if there is, you can make a reimbursement. The next thing you want to do is make sure, is it the same item? Some Amazon customers are very unscrupulous, and they will switch their old item with a new item. So I've had this happen to me once that I'm aware of. And someone bought a very expensive electric toothbrush, an Oral-B, probably worth £150, £200, and they returned their really old, crusty, I'm not even sure it was an Oral-B, it might have been a different brand, horrible toothbrush. And I was able to get a full refund for that. So you need to look and make sure, is it the same item? And another thing you can look at as well is the wear of the item, to help. Obviously, if it's not a like-for-like item, you obviously know and you can get a reimbursement. But let's say a person's bought something maybe 5 days ago, and you get it back and it's obviously showing significant wear on it, where this item's obviously been used more than a week. You should be able to hopefully claim that back from Amazon as well. You have to explain what's going on, that the wear is not consistent with the age of the item, and that's another way you can get reimbursement. And the final one as well is if there's a serial number on the item, so anything electronic, things like that, there should be a serial number on the box and on the item, and you can just double check, cross-reference those and make sure it's the same. If it's different, then you can take pictures, send in, and get a reimbursement. So that's the third step, is trying to claw some money back for your items. Fourth one. Now, you need to be careful with this one, because you don't want to overdo this and piss off the retailers and manufacturers, but can you claim on the warranty? Let's say you've sold a hairdryer to a customer on Amazon, they've returned it as faulty, you should be able to get a reimbursement, not a reimbursement, a replacement or a refund from the retailer or manufacturer because that item was faulty within the warranty period. Now, obviously, as you scale, this becomes a little bit more difficult, and flags might start going up, and you might end up getting banned from particular retailers. And if you're ordering consistently from one retailer and you're making a lot of money on there, you might not want to piss them off with too many of these returns for warranties. So you need to make your own decision whether it's worth doing this or not, and basically risking getting banned. So I don't do this very often. I actually probably should do it a little bit more than I do, but I tend to kind of avoid the warranty claims just because I'm in business and I've kind of accepted that I can't really claim, or but even though I can. Anyway, that's the next step. The fifth step, is the item working or in a resaleable condition? So, like I said before, oftentimes customers will say an item is faulty, and yet it's absolutely fine. So what you can do here is send it back to Amazon as graded. And now, obviously, Amazon would have done this already if the customer hadn't said it was faulty. But what you can do is determine the grade, and there's 4 grades. There's like new, very good, good, and acceptable. And you can send it back into Amazon as one of those items and set your price and sell it as used, basically. And what you need to do is make sure, obviously, it's working. You need to make sure the packaging's in okay condition. You need to make sure it's clean, etc., etc. This is basically for items that are basically new, but maybe the box is damaged or it's been very lightly used. This is the kind of thing you can do. Send it back to Amazon as graded used. Cool. So that was the 5th step, and then the 6th step at this point, if none of these ones up to this point have worked, is to eBay it, Facebook it, or Gumtree it. I only deal with eBay myself. So if it's in a condition where I can't really sell it back to Amazon, maybe it's too damaged or something's missing, you can't send a graded item back to Amazon really if it's missing items. So the next step, eBay, stick it on eBay, try and recoup some money. Pretty simple, basically. A lot of people jump straight to the eBay step, but if you can avoid that, I think for me it's almost the last resort, eBay. And that's the last step, basically, of recouping your money. And then the final 2 steps, 7, is just donate it. If it's not worth eBaying, you're not getting any hits on eBay, or it's not worth sending it off, you can just donate it. And I'm sure a charity shop will take it. And the final one is you've just got to throw it away. Mark it down as lost inventory, or inventory you've lost. Make sure you tell your accountant that this item has been thrown away. And that's the final one, basically. So those are my 8 steps to dealing with returns and how I deal with returns. And it is, to be honest, like I said before, it is a pain in the arse. It takes up a lot of time and a lot of effort. And that is what it is, basically. One thing I was going to say, actually, going back to step 6 with eBay, and it's a little bit controversial, but this is what I do. I don't spend any time really testing items. If I'm going to eBay it, I might do a very quick test potentially, but 9 times out of 10, I'm not testing it. I have a quick look at the item, see if it looks okay, and I'll sell it as working. If the customer gets it and it's not working or it is faulty, I just give them a refund and say, apologise profusely, say I'm very sorry, and just have a refund, let them keep it. And that way I don't need to take it back and donate it and trash it myself. But that saves me a bunch of time in testing items for eBay, because that is one of the, depending on what the items are, can be one of the most time consuming things that you need to do is test all the features, the functionality. I don't have time for that. So that's a risk that I take. And like I said, if it doesn't work out, I just basically give them a refund, apologise, just take the loss. Because at this point I'm going to donate it or trash it anyway. So that's a quick little tip, a little bit controversial, but anyway. So guys, hopefully you found that useful. If you do things any different, please let me know down in the comments. I'll be really interested to see how everyone else deals with their returns. And please like and subscribe and thumbs up the video. Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, I really appreciate it. I'm trying to do more videos, trying to build the channel. So any of these things that you do, subscribe, like, comment, really helps the channel grow. And if you've got any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try and get back to you. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.